Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
Hi everyone, it's Tori, aka MS Girl. Welcome to my second episode that I have titled Be Your Own Cup of Tea. First of all, I wanted to congratulate everyone on getting through the holidays. Sometimes they're merry and bright for us, and other times they are hard and defeating. And so everybody needs to pat themselves on the back. We survived it. That's what matters. We survived it. And I know that the new holiday and the new year brings in excitement for some people. It also brings in hardships for some people. And sometimes we can just look at it as just a fresh slate. We don't have to make resolutions or goals or do any of that. You can if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to. But I'm titling this episode, Be Your Own Cup of Tea. Basically because throughout my life, and especially with multiple sclerosis, lots of things change. We lose jobs, we lose friends, we lose our abilities. And many times I've heard people say, well, maybe you're just not their cup of tea. And I do live in Colorado, by Boulder, where there's a big tea company, and I've toured it many times. And so I was thinking one day, I might not be their cup of tea, so why don't I be my own cup of tea and see how that goes? And I'm going to call it a tea full of Tori. I know that's not real creative right now, but by the end of the year, it might change. I'm going to kind of compile it through the end of the year. So I'm going to talk about being your own cup of tea, and it's part of multiple sclerosis. It's part of life. It's part of people liking you, people not liking you. We don't need that. We don't need society or other people or the social stigmas to okay who we are because we're our own cup of tea. And I found a quote from a famous author. Her name is, I cannot pronounce it right, I don't think, but her name is Bianca Sereno, and she writes poetry books, and she also writes for a magazine called Collective Thoughts. And I'm going to quote the quote to you, and then I'm going to talk about being your own cup of tea. So here it goes. She writes, "Happiness turned to me and said, 'It is time. It is time to forgive yourself for all the things you did not become. It is time to exonerate yourself for all the people you couldn't save, and for all the fumbled hearts you fumbled within the dark of confusion. It is time, child, to accept that you do not have to be who you were a year ago, that you do not have to want the same things.'" And when I read that, that really resonated with me because I thought, I don't have to want the same things that I used to want. And I don't have to be the same person that I used to be. I can be my own cup of tea. And there's lots of ways to do that. We have old interests that we were really good at, or old abilities, or things that we did and accomplishments that we wanted to accomplish, and things on our bucket list that were great. And some of those things we got to be successful at, and some of the things we'll still have an opportunity to do. And other things might have to, get thrown off the bucket list, but that doesn't mean that there's other accomplishments that we can't achieve. I mean, Rome was not built in a day. So we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about those kind of things. We don't have to worry about what people or social stigmas, the society or other people, or even people in your own family, what they think of us. As long as we're happy within ourselves, We might not personally be happy with our disease. I'm personally not happy with my mobility issues. I currently have a UTI. I'm certainly not happy with that. I'm very angry with my bladder right now. But there's no reason why I can't love myself and just be me. And there's no reason why you can't just be you. And I think that, some people are lost in that, and some people are built from it. And I think that for me, I have to try and be built from it. And by loving myself, it has made me become healed. And when I say heal, I'm not talking about cure. Because obviously, we all know right now, at this time, there's not a cure for MS. Yes, there's lots of great medicines. There's lots of great holistic approaches. There's lots of great doctors and research studies and everything out there. They're working on a cure. Hopefully in our lifetime, we'll see a cure. But when I say heal, I'm talking about healing ourselves emotionally, mentally, and somewhat physically. Maybe we won't be where we were before, but we might make strides in being able to move our arms differently or move our legs differently. Some people are walking out of their wheelchairs. Others are walking with a walker. Others can take a shower more successfully. So there are different ways to be healed. And so when I use the word heal, I want to just kind of explain that I'm not talking about a cure, but I'm talking about being emotionally healed and physically healed, but mentally and emotionally. And by doing that, we need to love ourselves. And by loving ourselves, we need to be our own cup of tea. And we need to make it worthwhile. People are going to stare at us anyways, especially if we don't have the invisible part of the disease. If we have a disability aid, people are going to stare at us. Well, let's make it worth their while. Let's love ourselves and embrace it. And just embrace what we have and use it to improve ourselves and use it to make a new year or a new vision or a new goal or resolutions or accomplishments not so scary. When you love yourself, it's easier to accept yourself. And when you love yourself, it's easier to love others. And when you nourish and take care of your spirit and your soul, that is healing. And it's very important for us to heal. And God doesn't make junk. So even though sometimes we feel bad about ourselves because of multiple sclerosis or because of our mobility issues or whatever we're dealing with, everybody has their own journey and their own health issue that they're traveling with. God doesn't make junk. So we have so many opportunities to heal and to improve ourselves and to become the person that we were meant to become. And sometimes I feel like I am becoming the person that I really was supposed to become. Even though I've gone through all these hardships, even though I've gone through a really bad, hard time. And I'm especially not starting off this new year the way I wanted to because I'm sick right now. The very first day of the year, it was one of the weakest, worst days. I had to put a call into the neurologist already, and we're barely the first week into January. Not the way I wanted to start the year. But there's been a lot of great things that have helped me start becoming my own cup of tea. Some examples that have happened for me is that I've gotten to renew a lot of old friendships that I have had with people. So as most of you know from my last episode, I did break my leg last year and I was in the hospital and in rehab. And I had 4 girlfriends that I was really close friends with. And I hadn't seen them in over 20 some odd years. And they follow me on my MS Girl Facebook page, and they knew I was in the hospital, and all five of us had been friends. We all knew each other. But what happened, none of us kept in contact. We all had our lives, and we were busy, and we all have issues. And actually, a lot of us have health issues. And what was funny was that they all showed up at the hospital on the same day, at the same time, and we all reunited our friendships. And it was so special and so beautiful. And there was a lot of shenanigans going on in the hospital room, to the point where the nurses were coming into our room and shushing us because we were so loud and laughing so much. And so that gets added into the tea full of Tori, because I got to renew a beautiful friendship with Amy and Kelly and Robin and Lisa. And since then, we've been in contact. And the funny thing that happened was that they showed up a different time, like a week or two later, when I was still in the hospital, all at the same time, all unplanned. And we went back through the shenanigans again, getting shushed by the different nurses about being too loud and what's going on in here. So we're a little crazy, but that was kind of fun. In the meantime, I've lost some friends because I can't do what I used to do. I mean, I can't get on my bike and go for a big bike ride or jump in the pool and start training for a triathlon. So I've lost those friends. I had to take that out of my cup of tea. That doesn't mean that maybe I'll never be back in the swimming pool, which swimming is my love, and that's, what I went to college for. So that has to come out of my tea, but that doesn't mean it can't be put in my goal list, on my bucket list, and that's something that I want to do again. And so there's just lots of things that we can do that can make us happy, that won't ruin us. MS is not going to ruin us. And if we don't compare ourselves and judge ourselves to other people, MS does not have to break us. And trust me, I was broken for a good 3.5 years before I got to a point where I didn't feel broken anymore, and where I felt like, you know what, I can start viewing the world positively. And I don't have to miss out on opportunities because I'm scared, or I'm afraid, or I'm afraid that something embarrassing is going to happen when I'm in public, or that I'm going to fall, or that people are going to judge me because some days I have to use a walker and other days I have to use a wheelchair. Or some days it's completely invisible and I feel fearless and I want to go out. Other days I want to retreat in my home and I stay in my pajamas for a week. And because I work from home, that's an option. But probably shouldn't do that. But why should we cheat the world on our goodness and all of the stuff that we have to offer because of our MS? We shouldn't. The world deserves our goodness. The world deserves what we have to give to them. They can learn from us. And, Mother Teresa once said, and she saw dire situations, but she once said, loneliness is the worst disease that you could ever have. And MS is a very lonely disease. And yes, I have found I can be in a crowd of a room full of people and be very, very lonely. Loneliness is very dire. And if we start loving ourselves, we can be alone sometimes, or we can be surrounded with people sometimes, and we don't have to feel that need. We don't have to feel that loneliness and that dire and that depression. And then there are days, it's okay to feel that. It's okay to be scared. But we shouldn't have to worry about that. And we shouldn't have to worry about what people think about us. And, that's that's something that is part of multiple sclerosis or any kind of chronic illness or other things that people go through in their lives, whether it be a divorce or a financial hardship or a relationship issue or, everybody has troubles and everybody's worried about being judged. And I just think that it's a beautiful thing to be able to love yourself, be your own cup of tea, not have to worry about what other people think about you. If you love yourself, you can love others. And if people can look at you and you can spread love just by who you are as a person, through your compassions and through your hobbies, through your goals, through your wisdom, through your experiences. When I was in rehab, I had made so many friends, which was really kind of odd because normally, I admire so much anybody in the medical profession, but the nurses and the therapists were coming into my room as friends. Like they were on their breaks and they were coming into my room saying, "Hey, can I take my break in here and talk to you? Because you're insightful and you're happy and you make me want to laugh and I want to be your friend. Or can I ask you your advice on this?" And that really got me thinking, you know what? Yeah, I have MS, but that's a very little part of me. That's not who I am. And that's what really wants me to spread my wings and be my own cup of tea and be happy. And, I was a little spicy before I got sick. I was a little spicy and snotty, and going through what I've been through has made me a little sweeter. My tea's a little sweeter. By the end of the year, I don't know if it'll be sweet or spicy, but I'm going to add some flavors and probably take out some flavors. But right now, it's a little sweeter and probably nice to be around. And yeah, I can have hard days. I can, have my own pity party. We all know how I have my own pity parties. I actually got one of my friends, Amy, to come to my pity party finally. But it's normally me, myself, and I at a pity party. So anyways, back to what I was saying, I kind of got derailed there. Let's just focus this year. And I know we don't have to have resolutions or goals or visions, or we can, whatever works for you. But just to try and love yourself and try and be who you're supposed to be. Be what you're meant to be. Now, I did make a vision board this year. I used to make them in the past, and then there was a big span of years that I never made them. And I did make a vision board, and that was really fun. I actually spent time crafting and doing visions, and I did make a word for the year. I know a lot of people do that. My word is heal, and like I talked about before, heal doesn't mean cure. I know I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and not have MS. But for me, heal is healing in every aspect of my life. And I think that I can contribute to the world by doing that and spread love and spread kindness and spread compassion. And by doing that, it's not always to everybody around me. It should be, but I could most importantly need to spread it to myself. And I think all of us with a chronic illness, especially multiple sclerosis, because it is so unpredictable, need to be kind and compassionate and love ourselves, which is really, really hard to do when you're very, very sick. And it's really hard to do when you're in a flare or you're not feeling well, you're not doing good. Right now, I'm struggling with that personally. Lots of calls into doctors, lots of doctors' visits, have the visiting nurses, have the visiting physical therapists coming in. And I just have to kind of fight through that. I kind of have to just keep my vision that, one of my visions is for my movement and my mobility to be better. And I am working with a trainer with that. He actually has a radio show with MS&Me Radio. I am lucky enough to be able to work with him in person because I live in Colorado. And that is one of my visions. And that is something that I'm adding to my cup of tea. And a lot of other things are to be more creative and to be able to do some of the things. I am one who sits out because of fear. Oh, I really want to go do that, but I'm afraid to do that because what if I fall? I'm afraid to do that what if I get so tired I cannot function the next day? I'm afraid to do that what if I can't find the nearest bathroom in time? I'm afraid to do that because whatever the reason is. And one of the things that I'm putting in my cup of tea this year is to, just experience life. And if something happens, it happens. And I'll get over it. How many things have we all been through in our lives that we've all gotten over? And yes, some of them are embarrassing, and we'll go back and laugh on them. We'll laugh about it, in a couple months after the time. So for me, in my cup of tea, I'm putting movement and mobility. I'm putting that I want to heal. I'm putting that I want to experience life more, and I'm not going to sit out, and I'm not going to miss an opportunity and automatically say no just because I'm scared. If I can't go, then I'll have to cancel. And that is a part of MS that we all know. But that doesn't mean that I can't make a commitment and say, yes, I'll be there with the knowledge up front that that I might have to cancel because I do have MS and because that is the way the course of the disease works. And I just don't want to miss out on life anymore. I missed out on life for 3.5 years, and I don't want to worry about what people think about me anymore. It doesn't really matter about what anyone thinks about me except for my very close family and friends, my intermediate family. Anybody else, you know what? If you don't like me, I'm just not your cup of tea. But it doesn't matter because I love myself and I'm patting myself on the back and I'm spreading love and joy and kindness and compassion to others. And I think that that's really important. And another great opportunity is that I've made a lot of new friends. And one of my really, really fun new friends, her name is Roxy. She's on this radio show too. We are a hoot when we're together. I mean, we have so much fun together. We call ourselves babes with disability aids. I mean, we can sit on the telephone and laugh for 3 hours. So there's so many opportunities that even though they weren't what we could do in the past, I obviously can't jump on my bike and go, on a 12-mile bike ride with a bunch of my friends like I used to. But I could definitely get on the telephone and laugh with one of my friends. I can definitely create a vision board. I can cut things out. I can paste things. I can talk. I can do baby steps on things and make a list throughout the year of what you want to do and make a list on what's going to make you happy and what's going to make you excel in your own life, what's going to make you heal mentally. What you just need to be you. And that's a very important thing. And I think that we don't want to miss out on life, and we shouldn't have to. That's not part of what multiple sclerosis is. Yes, it is a very, very toxic, scary disease that it's defeating. I have felt defeated more than once. But I'm just going to be true to myself. I'm going to be true to myself. I'm just going to be who I am. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. I'm going to spread kindness, compassion, joy and try and be happy. Try and just enjoy things and be my own cup of tea. I'm going to be me. You're going to be you. And we're just going to leave it like that. I think it's just a great opportunity for a new start to a new year. It also shows the society that, and that there doesn't need to be a stigma on disability. That yes, I am disabled, but I'm still, a really great person on the inside. And you might see me broken on the outside, and a lot of times you might see me broken on the inside too. But that's just a very small part of who I am. The big part of Tori is a lot different than just MS. And people that are close to me see that. MS Girl's husband sees that. MS Girl's kids see that. MS Girl's friends see that. And that's a very important thing. And I have Thanksgiving for that. I'm thankful for that. I'm grateful for that. That's what I'm going to work on. And I'm just going to be my own cup of tea. And if I'm not somebody else's cup of tea, that's okay too. It really doesn't matter, because I finally have accepted and embraced what this disease is, and it is hard. So until then, I would love to thank MS&Me Radio Network. Erica and her staff work extremely hard. Thank you for everything you do for our community. Be your own cup of tea and stay brave. Until next time.